These young barn owls are called Thunder, Storm and Cloud. And this is the final chapter in their story. Watch as these three chicks take their maiden flights. And I get an insight into barn owl life after fledging. These three chicks have just been fitted with their BTO identification rings. And they're now back in their nest, elm stump. These three chicks are around 50 days old, and they no longer need around-the-clock care. So their parents, Gylfi and Dryer, spend their time in a nearby nest site. Thunder's back on the entrance, and then onto the ledge. And for the first time takes flight beyond the nest platform. His siblings watch on, but Thunder quickly returns, with a rather unorthodox landing, dropping into the grass below. But soon returns to the safety of his sisters. Thunder's 57 days old, and it's clear he's yearning for the outside world. Returning to the entrance the next evening. And youngest sibling Cloud clambers up to join him. But when Thunder leaves, Cloud rejoins Storm, who's captivated by a beetle inside. At almost a week younger than Thunder, Cloud isn't ready to leave just yet. When Thunder next returns, it's middle owlet Storm that joins him in the entrance. And once Thunder takes to the wing, Storm at 58 days old fledges onto the platform below. Never one to miss out on the action, Cloud jumps up onto the entrance. And what happens next is just lovely. Thunder returns to check in on Storm before leaving again. But he doesn't go too far. It only takes a couple more days until Cloud fledges at 59 days old. But a fresh mouse delivery from Dryer sees her straight back inside. The owl chicks will be continued to be fed here by the parents, despite having all fledged. Over the next few days, all three owlets use this nest as a base, spending their days pouncing, stretching, allopreening, and of course sleeping. They leave the nest at night, but return to spend the day here. Until the 7th of September, at 66 days old, 12 days after fledging, Thunder has a good stretch. And leaves Elm for the last time. and it's around this age young barn owls start to disperse, meaning they start to leave their parents' home range. Sisters Storm and Cloud stay in the nest for a few more days, and their bond continues to grow, which is lovely to see. But soon it's time for Storm to begin dispersing. She clearly doesn't want to go too far, as she ventures only a couple of trees down to Beech Stump. Cloud soon follows. Leaping towards the entrance and pushing Storm into the nest. Storm enters and inspects a stock dove eggshell. Cloud isn't as confident and stays in the nest entrance, but eventually finds the courage to look inside. Once they've got used to the camera and their surroundings, they settle right in. Playing with feathers and sticks. Allopreening and seemingly holding talons. Over the next couple of weeks, these two spend time inside the nest and in the entrance. But as I've seen many times before, taking up residence in a nest box of such quality doesn't go unnoticed. The first visitors are the infamous jackdaws. Fortunately, they leave without any altercation. And then Jenny, Fotherdail's female kestrel, calls by. But she too leaves without much fuss. Unfortunately, not all visitors are so calm. One night as they both return, the resident tawny owls are hot on their tails. Storm gets tagged by Luna, but Cloud narrowly escapes. Bomber comes out of nowhere and takes Luna down. Clearly a case of mistaken identity, because Luna and Bomber are mates. But their drive to protect their territory is so strong. What happens next is something I know occurs, but have rarely caught on my cameras before. By the time they're 14 weeks old, barn owls tend to have dispersed from their parents' territories. But Cloud is past this age and still here. Sometimes they're tolerated by their parents, but other times they're not. Gylfie, the mother of these chicks, pays Cloud a visit in Beech Stump. Nothing too brutal, but enough to put Cloud on edge. Gylfie knows better than to trust fledglings, even if they're hers. Back in 2020, Solo from her first brood that year entered Elm and tussled with Gylfie before stealing a chick from the second brood. Gylfie won't make that mistake again. Still on edge, when Storm returns that evening, Cloud is spooked and goes for her. But soon distinguishes friend from foe, and things calm down. Up until now, the barn owls have been relatively protected in their nest, but they'll soon have to get used to these threats. Gylfi's message was received and understood. Only days later, both leave Beach Stump for good. After this point, I rarely have an insight to what happens. Dispersal direction tends to be completely random, and often up to 5 miles. But what I see next is fantastic. Storm appears on my cameras over at Ashwood. I can tell it's Storm by her unique BTO ring number. Once owlets leave their parents' range, they can travel from roosting site to roosting site. So in true Goldilocks fashion, Storm goes round all the nest boxes. But this one's too messy. This one's too small. This one seems okay. Or maybe not. She's swiped by a resident tawny owl. This nest is taken. Storm then heads over to Ash Hollow and appears to settle in. It's now November and Storm is now 4 months old. But when she sits in the entrance, she gets some unwanted attention. First, a grey squirrel. And then the jackdaws. And finally Athena, who pulls her out. This is her nest. Despite having stayed in the area for an incredible 82 days, this interaction with Athena sadly puts her off Ashwood for good, and I don't see her on camera again. But she is spotted back at Fotherdale. Maybe her story isn't over just yet. It's been incredible to follow these chicks through their fledging period. And even more so, I've been able to see what they do after they fledge. This has been a great first breeding season for Gylfi and Dryer. From not knowing what to do at the start, Dryer has stepped up and helped Gylfi raise 3 beautiful barn owls. I have my fingers crossed for more success next year. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to see more. Here's a taste of what you'll enjoy seeing on this channel.